freelancer and person who's handled his own accounts, many late nights working on the computer. And I would always be listening to something. My musical drug of choice is Tori Amos when I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, everything. As a matter of fact, this whole area down here, that's every single thing that Tori has ever put out.
Serious? Big
Everything.
fan.
Everything. That's talking about imports, Japanese imports, German imports, everything. I would just pop something in, and that kind of is like my muse, keeps me working. But I was just on the computer. One of my friends who had said, "Hey, I'm going to be on the radio tonight," and just like me, before knowing what internet radio was, is I was talking about, what channel? Is it the Rad? Is it the Rock? Is it what is it? He goes, no, it was a thing called Dark Gift Radio at the time. I'm like, what do you? It was this internet station. I'm like, internet? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah. There's internet radio. Internet radio. He was like, yeah, like people like buy equipment for their home studio and they form a radio station. And I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, cool. All right. So I checked it out. Yeah, exactly. So I checked it out, and I was amazed. The guy's name was Sean. Really good radio personality, phenomenal, great voice, great dialect, and sold me like the old school. Sold me on the songs that was coming up, and I was listening to all these bands that I never heard before, and it was really cool. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So every night while I was working, and it was lucky, I was on a good 2 weeks. I started listening every night. So obviously conversations happened, befriended him. And I just said, I'm curious because being a person who's number one, read pretty much every liner note to every album that he's ever owned, history of music, goes and invests time and money in new bands. I said, is there anything out there that is supporting brand new music? Because I heard a couple bands on his show. I was like, wow, it's really good stuff. It's better than some of the stuff that's hitting the mainstream. We started having conversations, and lo and behold, the idea of doing an internet station was born. Now, the funny thing has happened is that this occurred right around Superstorm Sandy. So while we were building it, Sandy happened. And all of a sudden, what started as walking before you run, all of a sudden we had to get on our track shoes and started running. Now we were using the radio station to get out information to localities, where to find clothes, where to find food. So we told people to tune in, and we would be like a voice, because I have a lot of connections with different towns on the shore in New Jersey here, and so we were able to get that information out to other people. So it started basically like that. And then once that started to calm down and rebuilding started, we then worked and became New Rigel Radio. The reason we started calling it New Rigel Radio, which means is that's track 6 of a Queensryche song album Rage for Order, and it's New Rigel, and it basically says the New Order.
Uh-huh.
But people say, well, why didn't you call it the New Order? I didn't want to have anything to do with that. That's not what it's about.
Get in trouble.
Basically, a new way of doing things, a completely different way at looking at radio, looking at the way it's done, taking the old style of radio and merging it with a new thought process.
Right.
And hence, New Rigel Radio was born. And that's how the station was born. How we revolved into 99, that only occurred in June of this year. And it was one of those things where, we were, if our job is trying to get out the words to the masses, right? And if you have something that is overly difficult to pronounce, overly difficult to say, it was very, very simple. We made our point. People knew us for who we were, as far as working for a lot of independent artists and putting together a good product and getting the voice out there. But we wanted something that people could easily identify with. The last thing about the station, people think that the 99 is, you're the 99%. I don't know, maybe yes or no. That's inconsequential.
Right.
But the thing is, to me, we were talking about 99 and how it means that 99 is almost 100. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, you know what? Yeah, we're kind of like that. We're always striving to be a 100, and
100.
not being the 100 means we'll always strive to get to that point.
Right.
Which means we work hard. So 99, and we've had our call sign since day one, WNRR-I for internet.
Right.
So we just threw that on the back of 99, and there you go. And that's all it was. Now, when it's great, so when bands come in and say, okay, I want to give you a station drop, what do they say? I go, here you go. It's 99 WNRR. And people go, oh, wow, thank God, something easy to say. It was really that simple. It
That's
really
cool.
was that simple.
That's cool. That makes a lot of sense. I like that. So the radio you started in 2012, you said?
Yeah, started in, like I said, October of 2012, right
Yeah.
around Sandy. Yeah.
I saw something on your page today saying that that was pretty brutal, man. Now, in your station, do you guys play what's the genres that you play? It's mostly rock.
Oh, we are unapologetic. We are a rock and roll station.
Good.
It's the variety of rock, and we don't like dealing with subgenre. We don't believe in subgenres.
Right.
Okay. To me, it's the worst thing to ever. Sure, I mean it helps a listener, but think about how many different artists and how much music that people will not give a chance because of this breakdown of a subgenre.
Right. Oh
And so
man.
we said, you know what? We're rock and roll. We'll say 80s, okay. We'll say 90s. We'll say new music, and we'll say rock and roll. We're a
Right.
rock station.
Right.
Whatever rock entails, we're a rock station.
Heavy
Stop.
metal, power metal, and
Power metal, new metal, metal, whatever, rock and
rock.
roll, hard rock, classic rock, 80s rock, whatever. It's rock and roll. Let's
Right.
keep it simple. Let's keep
Right.
it simple.
Just this is a little bit heavier, but it's rock.
It's rock.
Right.
Exactly. I look at it, things, look, it's not pop. It's not country. And I love country bands. I love pop bands. I love R&B. I love R&B. Grew up on R&B.
Right.
But this is rock.
Right.
Simple. It's not that it's people try to make it a little bit tougher than it needs to be.
That's
It's rock
funny.
and roll, baby. It's rock and roll.
Mike, if I'm not wrong, I was stalking your page the other day and I kept checking some stuff. You play guitar or bass? Busted.
Well, I grew up a drummer.
Really?
And I grew up, yeah, I was a drummer for years. I was a session musician in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I was also a singer. I studied under Don Lawrence in New York City. Who's Don Lawrence? Sebastian Bach, John Bon Jovi, Tony Harnell, probably his latest and greatest protege, Lady Gaga,
Wow.
Christina Aguilera. He's been flown out for Mick Jagger when he had vocal problems. Bono, they flew him out for Bono. He is
Man.
the lead singer whisperer, or the what do we call the vocal whisperer?
Right.
Yeah, he is. I called him the guru back then. He took a boy who was rough around the edges. Not really. I was a 22-year-old boy. I really wasn't even a man at that point. And he taught me everything I needed to know about vocal, and instilled a confidence in me that has stayed till this day. He was amazing. I finally learned to be humble in front of somebody. I was always, 22 years old, knew the world.
Yeah.
I learned to be humble in front of in somebody who knew what they were doing, and really showed me everything. Vocal stuff that still helps me to this day. I was in music for a long time, had my fun with it, went back to school, created another career, and family, the whole 9 yards. And
Right.
someone said, "Hey, we're looking for a bass player." It's like, "Do you play bass?" I go,
I know one.
like, I guess I do now. So what did I do? I just sat there, and I always played guitar.
Right.
I always mess around. Drummers always like to mess around with piano, guitar, stuff like that. We always mess around. We always love playing stuff. But yeah, it was. I started listening to bass lines. As a drummer, always followed what the bass was doing. Obviously,
Right.
the intricacies and how much important it was, the important role that it played in the music. I followed those lines, the lines of the greats,
Nice.
Eddie Getty and everybody else. So I was listening to different bass lines, and they put together a bunch of songs and said, hey, can you learn these? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Then it was like, hey, can you sing and play at the same time? I'm like, that was a little
Nice.
bit different. But yeah, I started. So honestly, it really is something for me. You know my situation. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel alive.
Alive.
I look at what I have to do. I'm blessed beyond belief with what all the things that I have to do and I'm able to do right now.
Right.
It really is just like an extra feeling of, just energy, just, and for people who know, are in a band and who are in music, there is nothing even some of the things that we don't discuss. It is better. It is playing live. There's nothing like it.
No, you can't
No matter,
compare.
when you're in that pocket and when you're kind
In
of
the zone.
mind melding with 5 or 4 other people, and this band doesn't play with any. This is straight up. This band is straight up rock. It's working on 3-part harmonies. There are, I mean, honestly, we don't have the time to build backing tracks and stuff like that. We build up the harmonies a little bit,
Right.
but this is straight up like a 70s. It's an 80s style Guns N' Roses kind of band, but that plays everything. But the thing is that everything is absolutely live, and I think because of that aspect, the power of the live situation comes through. And
Right.
when we're locked in, forget it. Yeah, you come off shaking because you want to do so more. You want
Yes.
to keep on going. Like when we're there, we can just keep on going. We could play for 4 or 5 hours.
Right. I tell everybody, it's when the band locks in and you have that everybody's in a zone, it just you feel like you're not there. You're
Yeah,
somewhere else.
exactly.
Can't
You
describe
are.
that. You only
Yeah.
can describe that doing it, and I couldn't figure that out. I compare that, for example, I own a martial arts school. When I was competing, when I go to competition, and when you're singing or performing in a band, it's the same exactly feeling, Michael. It's same. Maybe that's why I stopped competing and fighting, and now I'm singing. And when you're on stage, that feeling that you described, they're the same thing. That's when you're in the zone, and that's it, man. There's nothing better.
No, there isn't, and unfortunately, I had to tell that to Miss Effects. But the funny thing is that my wife, who is Miss Effects on the station, she was not around obviously during
Right.
those times back in the day, and she's getting a little taste of it. So she's really getting to understand what it was like back then. Obviously going and playing the circuit, way back in the 80s, from 88 until 91, it was a very, very good band that did a lot of stuff. And we were working with MCA, before that label folded, which was the label that was actually working with Trickster at the time,
Hmm.
early days. That was, they wanted to pull me out of the band because I was lead singing at the time. They wanted to pull me out and put me in another outfit. And one of the things that I told them was, no, these are my guys. And I ride or die with these guys. Most people
Right.
think I was nuts, but when you have a certain thing with a group of people, even though that technically, you could go somewhere, but when you have a vibe with a certain bunch of guys, and you build something together, to me, it's like, you know what, you ride or die. I'm not going to jump ship because someone else offered me a decent deal.
Right.
These are my guys. I want my guys with me. It's kind of like that comfort factor, to trust that I know what they're going to do. And it's also that thing is where, you kind of vibe off of each other,
Right.
for being in that long. And it was hard for me to vibe. I tried it. I actually went to, when that band broke up, I tried to vibe off of a different band. It just didn't work.
It's
Even with
hard.
the same guitar player in a band, you got to have those are the guys that you come in and,
Right.
and
It's
those
it's
are the
hard to
guys,
find.
it's very, very, very hard to find.
Yeah.
You
I,
know,
I
I,
like that. I like the fact that you didn't sell out and you know what, let me move on and I'll make the money and you guys, we're good until now. And that's a really good thing. There's one thing that I would like to talk to you and I want to promote this. We talked about it. You share me a flyer you share with me about the radiothon.
the radiothon, it's 36 hours radiothon.
Okay.
Uh, there's to my surprise, here is the one thing that I was mostly surprised, and I'll go into the history of it, is that was looking for other radio stations, even terrestrial, who do this, who do a radiothon for a charity. Nobody does it. I'm going, are you kidding me? You have this medium, you have this opportunity. And that's why I look at it as it's an opportunity for you to help somebody else, for betterment of others. And nobody does it. No. I have such an amazing team at this station. They jump on the slots. Now, what the Radiothon is we started it back in 2013, our first one in March. It's a radiothon. It was called 36 Hours for Autism. My daughter was diagnosed in 2003. I'm
sorry.
Okay. And she, through the research, me and my wife being, college graduates of college in New Jersey, we're research fanatics. So we went nuts with research. We got to understand she's being diagnosed. Let's find out how we can help her. We did. We found an amazing organization called Faces, who helped and point us in the right direction, taught us what an IEP was in school, and began to work with that IEP, so much to the fact that Ellen got such great, amazing help through the school system that she graduated straight A's. Wow. And is now a senior at Caldwell University.
Wow,
senior.
Man.
So she is 1 year, 2 semesters away from being a college graduate, not a child with Asperger's syndrome.
Congrats,
I
man.
gotta tell you, if that doesn't ground you,
if
that doesn't make you realize what you're doing things for, then I can't help anybody. You know what I mean? So we've had all these things along the way. So anyway, we created the Radiothon to give back to what was given to us, to Faces. And we have done it we did it for 6 straight years. And it would be listener donations for a dedication of a song, or they'll buy a pack, which they'll get a t-shirt, some CDs and stuff like that. Higher donations through the station. They'll get to come on air sometimes and announce their song, so they get to play DJ. There's different levels of involvement when it comes to that. But also we would have interviews with not only people who have autism who have succeeded, even some comedians, some Asperger comedians that are actually up in Toronto, Canada. We talked to Dan Spitz from Anthrax, both of his sons. We were scheduled to talk to Scotty from Saving Abel. His son had autism. Wow. So we would have all these people that are in the entertainment field who have we were working on Tom Peterson as well from Cheap Trick, was his son. And we would interview all these people. We would interview doctors as well. We would interview caretakers, so people can get information along with being part of it. And every year was, a pretty good, between $1,000 and $3,000 every year would be donated. So, and those are all listener donations. So, I mean, it's something, but it gets people, it gets the awareness out there. This year, because of the pandemic hitting exactly when, obviously we had to reshuffle the deck. We had 4 new radio hosts come to the station as well. So they wanted to be involved. So we changed it this year. We're still going to go back to autism in March of next year, but we're going to do one coming up in October. Since September is Leukemia and Blood Cancer Awareness Month, and October is breast cancer, we're doing 2 more beneficiaries. One is called David's Dream and Believe Cancer Foundation, which goes, and I like mom and pop foundations that go directly to families. You know why? No overhead costs. We look for that. We vet these people out. No overhead costs, and I see the work that they do directly. So we vet them completely. And the Children's Air Ambulance out of the UK is the other beneficiary. This will be their 2nd year that we've helped them out. Wow. The reason why we help them out is because a large contingent of our hosts on the station are live from the UK. And I asked them, I said, for years, they always came in and brought donations and more people to the cause for autism. And I turned around, I said, you know what, you guys have done so much for Faces. What can I do for you? What can we do for you guys? And they said, there's this one that we're passionate about, the Children's Air Ambulance. And I said, okay, let's work for them too. So now each one will get equal donations and 100% of the proceeds Station takes nothing. Matter of fact, we actually pony up our own money to the two different organizations. The station takes no money at all. It's 100% of listener donations goes directly to the people. Now they can donate directly there if they want to and send us the receipt. That's great. As long as there is a receipt, we'll
Right.
give them a couple of songs. We like to have them work through the station. But if they feel that they want to, we encourage that. Go there, vet them out as well. Get all the information that you can. David's Dream and Believe Cancer Foundation and the Children's Air Ambulance. And that's
Nice.
going to be at the end of October 30th,
30.
31st, and November 1st.
Okay.
It's 36 hours of straight DJs. So I will get on at 12 o'clock on a Friday, p.m. 3 hours later, I will pass it off to another one. And it's amazing because it's live and it's seamless. We pass it off to one another. It's really cool. Everyone's really grown into it over time. So it's really easy. People think, oh, logistically, you got to go to the UK and then come back. And how do you make that work? We have got it down to a science.
Super
So we
cool.
actually started off, and then at 3 o'clock, I pass it off to somebody, some other DJ, and then 3 o'clock to 6, he'll pass it off to another DJ, and so on and so forth till 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. But it's completely overnight. It's straight through. There are no breaks, no auto DJ. It's 36 straight hours, 37 for good measure, actually.
That's super cool. Yeah, whenever you have the flyer up, I'll definitely be sharing and helping out and making sure I'll make a donation as well. I have few students that they're autistic, and it's such a joy, man, to teach them and see, like you see your daughter progressing and about to finish, graduate college. I see my students, you know, I treat them like my own kids, and I see them progressing and earning their belts, and it's just an amazing feeling to be able to at least help them a little bit along the way. Um,
Yeah, tell them that when we do the, I will send you. Matter of fact, well, I'll actually pick the days ahead of time, so you can actually get them geared up. So the Autism Radiothon will be in March of next year, the last weekend in March. We lead right into Autism Month, which is April.
mhm.
So they can get prepped and say, hey, look what we're going to do in March. Yeah, we're going to do our first one for cancer, and then we're back with another radiothon in March.
Right. I'll definitely help you out. Uh, you said how many DJs you have total in the radio station, in your
Oh my
station?
God,
5, 6?
this is so horrible. So it's like off the top of my head. I could. The good thing is that I happen to have my page open right now, so I'm gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Okay, so there are some are here, they are in UK as well.
Yes, the team stretches from here, but not only here. There's also down in Texas,
Hmm.
up as far as Ohio, in Erie, out as far as Washington, Vancouver, Washington, the UK, and in 2 places in the UK, and then Australia. So there's
Wow.
one, two, three, four, five, six. There's 6 different time zones covered.
Super cool. Super cool. Yeah, I've seen the picture of them when you open up in June. That was super cool. I really, really like that. I've seen some internet radio stations, and I went on your website, I think it was yesterday, and I checked it out. It looks so professional, so well done. I've seen some that I felt like the website was done by a 12 years old kid. I was like, you guys need to cause a good impression because this is the future. The internet radio will be the future, period.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm glad to know. It's good to know that my years of running marketing and design teams kind of paid off in some ways.
It
Uh,
looks good.
but yeah, it actually when we decided for the new branding, we wanted to make it, and we did a ton of investigation of really what worked and what didn't. Ease of use, clarity for the user. We were in the pitfall as New Rigel, as a lot of the design stations, too heavy, too much, and people were on, where do I go? We really simplified it, and we really threw out a lot of stuff. We had a bunch of bells and whistles, and we said, you know what? does this really matter to me? We really took the listener and the user into account when building this site.
Right.
Even the mobile version, which we love the mobile version. It's really, really crisp. Um, we were really concentrating on, if I was somebody and someone just said, go to this website, what would turn me off and what would turn me on about it? And we found ourselves going, nope, get rid of that. 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 Let's make it simple. Let's make it cool. We love our besides the homepage, we love our hottest news section on the mobile, because people don't have to. The cool thing about the hottest news section, which we work with a lot of PR companies and we get the releases before they come out, is that you get to, we've made it so efficient that you don't get taken to another page. You don't get open up YouTube. You can view the latest videos right on our page.
Wow.
So you don't get bounced to another YouTube. You don't get bounced to another thing. And here's the best thing about it too: no advertising.
Yes.
It is self-run. It is self-supporting. And one thing that we're the most proud of, I'd say, is that the license. We're one of the few licensed stations that believe in it. We pay our licensing fees to ASCAP, BMI, and we obviously report to the pros. So all the stuff that when you guys that are with ASCAP or BMI and you receive a check, and yes, I know it's thousands of cents on the dollar. Even though it's that, we're glad to be part of that.
Right.
That you guys are getting that recognition for being played. And we can get into that conversation about, oh my God. Because
There'll be part two.
Oh, if we were to just to brush, the brush stroke, the whole radio argument.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'll be honest, I've seen, I've been through the wars. I've seen, I've read every single documentation that has come out of Congress from the Millennium Copyright Act on. And I can tell you that there's the things that are going on with streaming radio. I mean,
Crazy.
it's disgusting.
Yes.
And some of the backdoor deals that have occurred that were supposedly done on the artist's behalf have been atrocious. To the fact that the little guy, like people like me, like people like other internet radio stations, are carrying the weight of paying their fees. A lot of them do, when you get people like Spotify who don't.
And those are the ones that make the most. They're robbing the bands, period.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
We can't do anything about it, but we know that we do, and we know that we fly the right way, and we've done so since 2012, and
right.
We're proud of it. We really are. And people ask us, why do you do this? And some people say that we're nuts, and you can do this, blah blah blah, podcasts for free, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, it's, you don't understand. A lot of us are musicians, and how would we feel if we were kind of getting popular off of what other people do? That never sat right with me. I mean, at some point in time, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what, integrity is an important word. And I still think it resonates these days.
Oh yes, big time. Now, if any band, for example, listening to you now, right now, watching on Facebook, they want to submit music to you, what would be your criteria and where they can send the music to you?
Right now, through Reverbnation, which pretty much a lot of the bands have.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Reverbnation page, there are 3 campaigns that you can send up through, and these are reoccurring campaigns. They don't drop out. So once this current series is done, a next one will be up a week later. So I don't have it up in front of me. I think it ends in like 17 days or something like that. There will be another one a week after that. There's one for 99 WNRR. There is one for the Launchpad Live, and there is one for a great new show called the Jackie Raven Show. Basically, if you submit to 99 WNRR, it'll get doled out to all of the DJs. And the DJs, and here's the best thing about it: there is no mandate to any of these shows. You aren't mandated to play anybody. I give complete autonomy to every single DJ to build the show that they want, build the show that they want to have fun with, because that is going to sell the music to the listener and say, hey, you know what? I believe in this band. That's why they're getting played. Not because I'm being forced to play this band because the so-called station manager is telling me to, which happens with every other station. I give everybody complete autonomy to build their own show and play who they want. I mean, within reason, it's got to be rock and roll. It's got to be rock and roll.
Common sense.
Common sense. But those are the ways that they can. The Launchpad Live, like I said, has an extra vetting process, which means Reverbnation takes a look at them, send them to us, we take a look at them, and then the fans vote on them. So it's a tighter vetting process for that show and for Jackie Raven. But if you send to the station, overall, you'll have an opportunity to get heard by every one of the DJs. Right.
I appreciate you guys playing my band as well, Vox. A couple of tracks that we were, happy to be in your guys' rotation. That was super cool to see it. Super cool.
Like I told you earlier, and what I tell the bands that make it onto the top 20, is that they're up there because they deserve to be up there. The songs are good. The songs are performed well. The songs are the songwriting quality is top level. There's not a bad track. Like I always say, there's not a bad track on the top 20 ever.
Thank you.
And it's a very, very, very good company to be in. There's so many shows and so many top 20 countdowns and countdown shows that I see. And like a lot of people, I will go and I will listen to the bands. I will see this, top indie 40 or whatever. And I will sit there and go, okay, well, let me go check them out. Because I'm that kind of person that does. And then I listen to it and I go, what did you pay this top 20 to get on? Or what did you pay this guy to get on your top 40? Right. Seriously, because it was so substandard, the quality, the recording. And people say, well, the old adage would be like, well, who are you to judge kind of thing. And to people's point, everyone has their tastes. I get it. But there's one thing, and I will stand on this soapbox forever. There is one thing you don't ignore, and you can't ignore. Quality. Quality in the songwriting, quality in the performance, okay? Quality in the engineering. Care, and this is what I tell every band, care about your product.
Right.
I always tell them this too. Care if the track gets on the top 20 in the Launchpad Live. To me, it shows that you cared enough about your career as I cared about enough about your career to have it be on the top 20.
Right.
Care about your career. Put the effort in. Sometimes it takes sacrifice and money and a lot of stuff. Make it the very best you can be.
Right.
Don't haphazard it. Don't half sell it. Make it the very best that it can be. Because then it does get recognition. Don't mail it in. God, don't mail it in. And that's just evident by all of the bands that make the top 20. They're all quality. They're all high quality. So like I said, it's kudos. It's kudos. The kudos goes to you guys. It doesn't go to me. It goes to you guys because of the performance and the quality of the track.
Well, what you're doing is such an amazing job because the passion of music. You're not doing, of course, because of the money. You're donating more time than people can even understand how much you put behind, the scenes to make things happen. You're not an FM radio, which I don't know how it works, but I hear a lot of stories about, program directors, how things work to get the song in there, how much money is spent. And when you have guys like you so knowledgeable about music, creating, all this whole thing for bands like my band, they're not signed, or bigger bands that they're signed or not, you guys don't care. You care about the music. It's done well. Let's put those guys here and play. And that's the way I believe that it should be from the get-go. But now, money talks. You know how it works.
You wouldn't think about, think about classic 50s radio, 60s radio, right? A lot of these bands or a lot of these people were found. Jerry Lee Lewis found playing piano. Elvis Presley found singing, but Beatles found playing at the Cavern Club, whatever. have you, whatever those stories are. And good music gets discovered. It doesn't get shoved down your throat because, later on it did. Later on it did. Later on, because the machine got big.
Right.
And, we were getting stuff in the late 70s and early 80s shoved down our throat of this is what is the hottest new thing.
Right.
But before that, my friend, they were discovered. And people forget that. I'm a huge fan. People say, one of the biggest compliments I ever got, and I kind of get a little choked up. Someone said that the show reminded them of the classic AT-40 with Casey Kasem. And I was like, this is what I grew up on. I grew up on the classic American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. And he goes, now here's your long distance dedication. And now, so I grew up with that. I couldn't wait. If I missed the first song, I was pissed. I was angry. I was angry. I was like, damn it. What came in at number 10? I had to go put the trash out or something. I was upset. I was glued to that top 40, especially because they were playing rock in that day.
Nice.
So, but all the 80s top 40s, they were all rock. So you were really, you were excited to hear it.
Right.
And, and they said that the way that it was structured reminded them of the classic AT-40. That was the biggest compliment that I ever got on
Super cool.
But yeah, they were all discovered. These bands were all discovered. And I think that to me is, we took that older mentality when we go to find these bands. I'll say straight to everybody, there's bands that I look, I will see, and I will listen to every single track. Even the tracks that have a picture up there, that'll be like, you put a picture of your dog up. And I'm a dog guy. I have two. A picture of your dog up there as your, what do you call it? As your profile picture. You obviously don't care enough about your career.
Yeah.
Why submit a song? And I'm honest about that. Why submit?
Right.
If you're serious about your career, submit. I want to hear what you have to say. Say, not show. Say. We've had bands that have had 150 likes. There's a great band out of Asheville, North Carolina called the Dog Gods. They have a songwriting style of their own. 150 likes, out of Asheville, North Carolina. No one's heard of them, but there were 2 songs that got on the top 20 because of the fact that they were unique. They were played with passion.
Right.
They were played with fire. And they got on. So it's not because you have 40,000 likes and look how many people that we can, that we can get to. It's really about the quality, my friend. It really is.
I like that. I wish a lot of radio stations would think just like you're doing. You know what I mean? And think that process, like, talent needs to be found, not bought. You know what I mean? That's why you see sometimes how music is turning into, like, some of the new rock bands. I was talking to another band last week, and we were talking that some of the bands, they're sounding so similar, the newer bands, that there's no dynamics anymore. There's no more contrast in the music. It's so predictable that what's going to happen right after the chorus, what's going to happen after the chorus, and what's going to happen after the verse. And just like, guys, let's come up with something new. You know what I mean? Something more. There's no air anymore. It's like boom, 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 music is done. That's it.
Agreed. As a matter of fact, I will go off, like I said, I will go off and listen to Tori and get a change of pace. So, because I like the authenticity of that. It's not cookie cutter. It's
right.
And there are some things that have a formula that I absolutely dig. No problem with it. It's got a great vibe. It's got a great chorus, good hook. Hey, I'm a Cheap Trick fanatic. Classic band for writing hooks, right? So I love a great hook. There's nothing wrong with it. Right. Elvis had hooks. Jerry Lewis had hooks. The Beatles had hooks. That's the great thing about music. But when it comes to like, oh my God, there are some bands out there that I immediately picked up on. Like one of them, the Civil Wars. Unfortunately, they broke up. But here was an album that came out of nowhere called Barton Hollow, and it was Americana. It was folk. Southern Delta blues. Right. But what an album. Man, that just captured a complete moment. That to me is a record. It's kind of like Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes. The same as Number of the Beast captured a moment. Power Slave captured a moment. So as long as you, to me, yes, there can be cookie cutter, but if you can capture the moment, just don't rewrite the same song each time. But
Right.
yeah, if you capture a moment, yeah, that's okay with me. Just
Right.
don't use the same song.
Back to back.
We can tell if it's the same thing but remixed a little
Right.
bit. Yeah.
Right. Change a little bit of the chords here and there, but the formula is still the same. Now, in
Yeah, I hear what you're saying though. Formulas, yeah, you can hear it when bands become stagnant.
right. Right. I had a buddy of mine send me, I'm not gonna say the band's name, a big band this week. They just had a release. He sent it to me. He's like, "What do you think about this track they just released?" And I said, "It's okay, but for the size of this band being signed and have a huge label behind them, it looked like they were just releasing music just to release, to say, hey, we're releasing music, but there's no passion, like you're saying. You couldn't feel the guitars or something, and it's sort of like a little heavier, let's put it that way. But man, and I told him, and I said, it looks like a lot of bands are just releasing just to release because they sound the same as 2 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky situation.
I like bands. I mean, there is, from a songwriting point of view,
Hmm.
there are some things that I think we come to expect from certain bands. And I think, well, I mean, I'm going to use one of the iconic bands as a point of reference. Let's go with Kiss, right?
Hmm.
You expect a certain sound out of Kiss.
Yep.
All of a sudden, here comes Dynasty. All the fans went,
Uh-oh.
WTF, guys? What is going on? And then you back that ride up with Unmasked, and then you hit them over the head with The Elder. You want to talk about destroying a career? I mean, fans expect something from you. If you want to give them Love Gun or Destroyer again, who knows how much bigger that band would have been.
Right.
But then you give them 4 clunkers in a row, and then you're doing disco, you're doing goth, something. I don't know what it was. The music
No.
from The Elder. Now, obviously the fans love the albums because they'll listen to anything.
Right.
But I think, your point, bands are responsible to their fans for a certain sound. That famous scene in Rockstar with Steel Dragon.
Hmm.
We're doing the Steel Dragon thing, right? So we all know that moment, right?
Right.
So stepping out of the box, I can see where that could be, kind of detrimental to a band. I can see the potential fear of bands doing that.
Right. Right. Yeah, I see that too. So before we wrap this up, Mike, I wanted to really thank you for taking, your time. You I look up to you. I see your work. I've been doing a little research. Appreciate you supporting, bands like mine. And when I see on the top 20, and I was like, there's Ashen Moon here. That's the lead singer, like Toby Rent. I'm such a big fan from that guy since he went in whatever the show it was for Supernova.
Was it Supernova, Rockstar
Yes,
Supernova? Yeah,
yes, I have that
yeah.
DVD. That's
Gilby
Gilby
Clark,
Clark. Yes,
Dave Navarro, your guitar players, your bassist Jason Newsted, your drummer was Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. Yeah, I love that show, and I have that song. Once in a while, I used to listen to on YouTube that he had "Throw It Away." He wrote that song. So when I saw Ashen Moon, and I started listening to some of the bands on top 20, and Ashen Moon was right below us for whatever reason, the votes, and I listened to it, and I was like, "Who's the bass player here? Who is singing?" So I added him as a fan, and he messaged me back. We talked for a little bit. I said, Toby, I cannot believe that we're talking here, man, and we're in the same top 20. That was awesome.
Toby got to me, messaged me as well, and yeah, he's one hell of a guy.
Yes.
I would like to. Matter of fact, I think when we do another interview, I think I'm going to be talking to Toby because I talked to Gary. But how about this? And this is, we could talk Ashen Moon for a sec. How crazy is it? Well, for me, creepy. I grew up with that band. I grew up with Excess.
Yes.
All right. I was there. The One Thing, Don't Change, Shabu Shaba, Listen Like Thieves. That was my stuff. I was loving that. While I was a metalhead, loved me some In Excess,
Yes.
right? Until Kick came out, and then
Got a little
X came
poppy.
out. I'm going, oh no. Then they started being part of the whole model thing. I was like, nah. I kind of lost me that. The albums after that, where they rocked out again, I like.
Right.
But and then talking to this guy, I'm talking to again. Now I've had the pleasure of interviewing a lot of people. Queensryche, Michael Sweet, Stryper, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at, Lacey Sturm, Stitched Up Heart, Greta Van Fleet, interviewed them, Diamante, the band Red, Devour the Day. I've been blessed to talk to a lot of great artists. But talking to Gary, and then at the same time, the redo of the redigitation of In Excess Live at Wembley came out.
That was amazing.
And I'm going, this is a rock concert.
Yes.
This is what it used to be. This is the fanaticism that I remember with this band.
Mm-hmm.
And how big this was. At one point in time, this was the biggest band in the world.
Yep.
They were the muse of that time, selling out Wembley. They were the muse of the time, the Foo Fighters.
Right.
At one point in time, they were the biggest band in the world. I'm talking to the bass player. I'm going, this is pretty cool.
Crazy.
I went back and I talked to him. I said, I asked you a question. Why the heck did you throw that bass off the back of the truck at the end of Don't Change? How dare you? You're sitting here talking to me, Gary. You're talking about how much you love basses, but yet you threw a Fender off the back of a truck. How dare you? He laughed. He remembered that. But how weird is it when you hear the songs, right? You can hear Michael's inflections in those songs.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear Michael Hutchins in Future Kings and Queens. You can hear it in Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes, you can kind of
nice.
Michael. It's creepy. It's really wild too. And Toby does if that was the moment to be captured, Toby nailed it.
Yeah. Mosquito too. That's another track that they released. Amazing, bro.
Yeah, Mosquito. He just nailed it. But I told Gary that too, and it was not a slight on Toby at all. I was like, how crazy it was. And he admitted, Gary said, Michael was with us there in the studio, he said in the interview. And I was like, man, yeah, there's a lot of inflections in there that remind one of Michael. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, Toby, he did. He caught that.
Yes.
Which was amazing. And it caught me. Got me in the feels. Totally got me in the feels.
It's gonna be interesting to see they're releasing the rest of the music. He said, "Oh, how's your band doing?" And I said, "Oh, we have a release here in September." He's like, "Oh, that's so cool. We have right before they release Future Kings and Queens, we have this one coming up and some acoustic." I was like, "Wow, that's super cool." And I'm talking to this guy. I was like, "Wow, super cool." I can't wait for the rest of the album to be released.
I can't wait to hear the new song out of Vox, to be honest with you. I can't wait to hear that.
You're going to like it. You'll be the first one. All right,
I want to say, before I get out of here, I want to say one thing to you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate your messages to me and checking in how I'm doing with my cancer battle for 5 years. So from a personal level, I want to say thank you so much, my brother. My friend,
no problem, man.
for checking up on me. I much appreciate it very much.
Thank you. You're doing a lot for a lot of people, and you probably don't even realize what you're doing for a lot of bands. So just do the math. Each band, 5 people, 4 people. So you definitely you're a blessed guy, and I'll definitely keep checking on you. And anything I can help, just count on me. Just message me.
You got it, my friend.
All right, brother. Thanks so much, and God bless you.
Take care. God bless
you. Take care, Mike. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.